It's the date and the hour that it is, and this upload this morning is with regard to people that have been of very dangerous controversy and conspiracy in a community where they've been of avoidance tactics with regard to their offences of publicising rape in 2006. Now, that's quite serious enough, but in recent times, as I keep mentioning, there's the other more dangerous constitutional wrongdoings and collective offences of hate crime that they've conducted. Now, there is a very serious issue when the collective in a community impose upon a person's private space and start utilising artificial means, artificial technology, artificial information in any respect against a woman that's living on her own, where really they have no remit, jurisdiction or right to violate proximity. It's also quite serious for any individuals to be supporting any collective in a community that have supported rape and revenge porn and child abuse. And it's very dangerous that a collective in the community would ever be in any negotiating position with regard to damages to a sacred light body. Now, as a sacred, it's very dangerous, the damages to my sacred light body. There have been individuals, as I've mentioned, throughout all of these uploads that have damaged sacred light for intents and purposes that they had no consent to. Now, this has affected nature, wildlife, the information being publicised throughout the community as a consequence of their experiments, research and endeavours that were unlawful is another issue. So there's been a lot rectified in the past 7 days. But there's still the issue of nature and wildlife that has been affected due to these individuals that have used from my light body and with technology that they have no lawful consent to be utilising, to be exacerbating their offences against my patronage. So there's a collective in this community that are being really silly. They've been involved in spiritual violence against my child. That's common knowledge. They've damaged very precious, sacred gifts, light and blessings of my royal experience. And they have intruded upon me as strangers and violated my proximity and defamed my character, and they've been blaspheming. So I hope the United Nations is really seriously aware of all of the sinister offences I'm experiencing, as well as the violence of spirituality on my farm holdings in Ardfert and Kilflynn. All these things have happened since 2015, so I would really appreciate the United Nations contacting me with regard to the very dangerous matters being caused in Tralee by incompetent human beings in a collective that are still avoiding their offences from 2006 and not paying their debts and still intruding upon me. They're strangers, they've imposed, they've discussed me, they don't know me, they've damaged my baby, and they're on property where they've no right to be. So I'd really appreciate the United Nations realising how dangerous a situation these people have caused. Because it's really serious when sacred royalty is damaged and an innocent child is harmed in spiritual violence. And the damages of spiritual violence on my marital properties was quite serious also. And as for nature and wildlife and publicity of personal information, these are all very dangerous offences I'm experiencing. So I'd appreciate the United Nations contacting me with regard to my European Court of Human Rights application since 2019. There are liabilities in society that aren't mature, responsible or competent enough to know where they're not welcome and where they've no rights. It's very serious what they've done to an innocent royal child.